In this example, it is given that the tangent of theta equals -5/2 and angle theta terminates in quadrant 4. I need to find values for the 5 remaining trigonometric functions of angle theta. Well, there are 2 different methods of doing this problem. The first involves using several different identities. The second involves drawing the angle in standard position and finding out values for x, y, and r for angle theta. That is the method that I'm going to use. Here are my axes as well as the labels for quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. My angle theta terminates in quadrant 4. So I need to draw an angle whose terminal side is down here in quadrant 4. And now I need to construct the little right triangle that goes up to the x-axis. And for this point here on the terminal side, this coordinate is x, this is y, and this is r. Now we were given that the tangent of theta equals -5/2. And how is the tangent function defined in terms of x, y, and r? It is y over x. Now be careful with the signs. Looking at the picture, y is below the x-axis, so y has to be negative. The x value is to the right of the y-axis, so it is positive. So we're going to let y equal -5, and x is going to equal +2. Then if I take y divided by x, I'm going to get my -5/2. So all we have to do is find r, and we're going to use Pythagoras to do this. X squared plus y squared equals r squared. X was 2, so 2 squared plus y is -5 all squared equals r squared. 2 squared is 4 plus -5 all squared is +25 equals r squared. Now, 4 plus 25 is 29 equals r squared. Taking square roots of both sides, but remembering r is always positive, so r is the positive square root of 29. Now I know r, y, and x. I can find the value of any trig function. The first trig function I want to find is the reciprocal of the tangent of theta. Remember, that's the cotangent of theta. It is 1 over the tangent of theta. So all I have to do is take the reciprocal of -5/2, which is -2/5. So that is the value for the cotangent of theta. Next, let's find the sine of theta. In terms of x, y, and r, it's y divided by r. Y is -5 divided by r, which is the square root of 29. So we weren't asked to rationalize the denominator, so that is the sine of theta. Now, what is the reciprocal of the sine function? It's the cosecant of theta. That is just 1 over the sine of theta. So taking the reciprocal of the sine of theta, I'm going to get the square root of 29 over -5. We never leave a negative in the denominator, so we leave it in front. So it's negative the square root of 29 over 5. That is equal to the cosecant of theta. Next, let's look at the cosine of theta. It is x over r. X is 2. So it's 2 divided by r was the square root of 29. So that is equal to the cosine of theta. And finally, the reciprocal of the cosine function is the secant of theta. because that is 1 divided by the cosine of theta. So the reciprocal of the cosine function is the square root of 29 divided by 2. So that is the secant of theta. So I have found 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5 remaining trig functions I needed to find. And what happens if I was asked to rationalize the denominator of each of my answers? I'm going to put the video on pause for a second. And remember, to rationalize the denominator, you multiply numerator and denominator by the square root of 29. So here is the answer for the sine of theta and the cosine of theta if I was required to rationalize the denominator of my answers.